Yo, what's going on, you guys? So, pro-life and pro-life and pro-choice. So, my stance on pro-life and pro-choice. I am a mixture of both. And what I mean by that is I agree with certain things that pro-choice says, and I agree with certain things that pro-life says. Now, when it comes to the matter of abortion, I agree with pro-choice, but only on certain things. I believe that pro choice takes their argument with pro life, and pro life takes the same thing with pro choice. They tend to, their arguments tend to be, I don't know, what's the word? Um, Unattentive. And what I mean by that is instead of observing what the other party is saying, instead of, you know, coming up with solutions to the matter, coming down to talk, they stick blindly to what their belief is. Take pro life, for example. If you go to a pro lifer and you say that abortion is okay, they're going to come at you with things like that is a living being. Well, true, the fetus may have a heartbeat, but that doesn't actually make it living, or at least not its own person. Because if you think about it, it is still connected to the female that it resides in. It literally is a part of her. Its cells, its body parts, depending on how old it is, every fiber of that fetus is a part of the mother. And yeah, sure, you can try to say that the father is, a has a lot of parts. And no, he doesn't. All he did was release a semen. That's it. Whenever that connected to the egg, it became a part of the mother. Now, this cluster of cells inside of the mother, they are not a living being in my eyes. They are a part of her. They reside within her. They feed off of what she eats. They literally are inside of a cocoon. But see, the only difference is with a cocoon, the caterpillar inside is the one that made the chrysalis outside. But this is kind of like the opposite. So, no, I do not think a fetus is a living being. It even says in the Bible, I've done my research on this, that it is not living until it breathes air outside of the womb. Outside. Not inside, outside. So, even if the Bible says that, that just goes to show that even in a religious standpoint, you can't be against it. Because the God you worship also said that it is not living. Not until it breathes air outside the womb. Okay, now, my personal thing on this is personal, okay? I agree that it is the woman's and the mother's choice to do what she wants with her body. It is her body because that fetus that resides within her, again, is not living. It is a part of her. Therefore, it's part of her body. Therefore, she should be able to do whatever she wants with her body. Now, let's take a little look at pro-life. So, I'm going to I pulled up some information on pro-life issues and the point of conflict between pro-life and pro-choice. Um, and it's primarily, as I said, the issue of abortion. It argues that pro-life movement argues that even a non-viable, undeveloped human life is sacred and must be protected by the government. Abortion must not be legal according to this model, nor should it be practical on an illegal basis. The pro-choice movement argues that in pregnancies before the point of viability, when the fetus can't live outside the womb, the government doesn't have the right to impede a woman's decision to terminate the pregnancy. So, the problem here is that they want the government's approval on this. Well, I've got some bad news for everyone out there. The government is not going to give you approval on either of your sides. They might give a little bit of leeway, like down in Alabama. Fucking morons. The shit that they're doing with abortion and all of that oh, God. Fucking morons. But with the shit they're doing down there, where they even give rapists a right to see or be a part of the victim that they raped, they're given permission to be part of the child's life that was conceived out of rape. That's fucked up. That should not be allowed. And that brings me to my next thing. If a woman is raped, I don't care how old, especially younger, in my opinion, especially younger, but if a woman is raped and she becomes pregnant, I do not believe she should have to carry that child. My reasoning behind it? Because literally every time she looks at that child in the future, all she's going to think of is not how much she loves it, is not how much she cares for it, is not how much joy that kid brings to her life. No. She's going to think back to the moment that child was conceived, to every atrocious action that took place during that time. So she's going to resent the child. She is not going to be a very good mother to the child. It will literally be hell for both of them. The child will have no father. The mother will be very neglectful, possibly abusive, because that's all she sees when she looks at that child's face. And the child is going to have to live through that. But if the mother is given the option when she is younger, or before she gives birth, to get rid of that child, I believe she should be given the choice to do so. Because that child is not alive. Because she shouldn't have to live through the pain every day of remembering what happened to her. And what makes matters even worse, it could even be family members. it could kill her. Childbirth is a fucking horrid thing. Alana's in the hospital for the next 8 weeks. All because of some shit going on in her uterus with the baby. So, problems can arise. That being one example. Yes, the child is going to live, but there are always those risks that the child could die, and there's also the risk that the love of my life could die. But it's unforeseen. Those are just percentages. Now, what if, in this situation, we knew that Alana was going to die? That her and the baby, or that the baby was going to die during this process. I think it should be perfectly fine to remove that child. No matter the point. Because I do not believe one life is more important than another, especially one that is not born yet. Do I love my child? Yes, and it's not even born yet. I talk to it every time I go to the hospital. But I also love her. I've known her longer. A lot longer. She's a living being. And she is a productive member of society that can help people in ways that a fetus cannot. Now, as for other topics regarding pro-life and pro-choice, because I've already went over the abortion thing, I've given you my opinions, I've given you my insight, I've given you my viewpoint. If you have anything else to add to it, if I missed some stuff that you want me to go over, like especially with things like going on in different states or different parts of the world, tell me what your laws on abortion are. Tell me what your thoughts are. I want to know what your standpoint is. And I want to hear your argument. So leave it down in the comments. Now, as for the other topics of pro-life and pro-choice, because pro-life and pro-choice do not just live around abortion. Pro-life and pro-choice also has to do with things like the death penalty, which I believe to be perfectly okay. My reason being because, well, multiple reasons. The first one being our prison system is way too jam-packed. There's way too many people in the prison system. Way too many people that have been there multiple times or for very long periods of times. They eat for free. They do everything for free. And they literally just sit there and rot. And a majority of prisoners that get out do not get better. You know why? Because they're in a place full of fucking criminals. It is literally just going to harden them into more ruthless and better criminals. That's literally what it does. There's no reason. The reason they have such a prison system is because of one thing: profit. The government profits off of the prison systems. I mean, I just pulled up some stuff on this. They didn't even become a criminal justice system until the early 19th century. Um, let's see. Let's keep going down. Yeah, so there honestly aren't that many, considering how many people are in the prison systems through the decades, there are not nearly as many executions or anything like that there should be. I believe that if we were to actually make the death penalty more of a factor, I believe that instead of sending them for life, I don't think the life sentencing should be a thing. I believe if they're going to get something like a life sentence, just fucking kill them. And my reason for it is because there's literally no reason to keep someone locked up for literally the rest of their lives. There's no point. There is no point at all of why they would do that. Now, I understand where people are coming from with the whole it shouldn't be legal. I understand. I do. Because, don't get me wrong, I know life is a sacred thing. It goes back to my argument with abortion. The thing about abortion, my argument there, does not hold up here. Because with a fetus, I do not see that as a living being. This is a living being. But this living being chose to live a life based off of the pain and misfortune of others. Sure, yes, some can be rehabilitated, but a vast majority are not. They go back and do the same thing. They're just more careful about it. They know not to make the same mistake twice, and being in a prison system with people that have done the same things, they pick up on other things that they should not do, so they are more careful about it. It's harder to catch them again. So that's the reason I believe in that. Now, another topic is war. Now, here's where my views vary. As with the past two topics, it's mainly been pro-choice. But when it comes to war, I do not believe war, depending on the circumstance, should exist. Today's wars shouldn't exist. The past few wars shouldn't exist. War now is more for the benefit of a country rather than defending ourselves from a threat. Key example, World War One, World War Two. There was a reason to be in those. The reason being, it was either get involved, or not only were we going to lose two huge allies that we trade with, and that who were huge exports and imports of goods, but we would also have our own way of life threatened. That is a cause worth fighting for. The cause is right now fighting for fucking resources and just to have control over something that could pose a threat? Could. Not can, because they definitely cannot right now or anytime in the near future. But could one day pose a threat. We scare them, take control over their resources, their government, using fear tactics. Now tell me, what does that sound like? The same thing that our government has been fighting for so long. Terrorism. We, the United States of America, are terrorists. So are any other major country that are just in it for the resources, whose war has no purpose. There's no reason for it except for profit and to have control over those people. Terrorism. We are the terrorists, not them. We are. Now, the last thing would be, what was it? I have the topics down. Just give me 1 second. Okay, no, that's about it. Apart from assisted suicide, but that's not really as big of an issue anymore. Um, Actually, you know what? I will go into it. So, assisted suicide. We'll talk about this. Do I think it's okay for a perfectly healthy human to kill another perfectly, or help kill another perfectly healthy human just because they want to die? No. But do I think that if someone is guaranteed to die and is in pain every single day, such as someone with an incurable cancer or someone with a tumor that cannot be fixed, or if there's some other problem within the body that ensures that that person is not going to survive more than a few years or a few months. If that person wants to go ahead and end their life, that way they don't have to go down that road, that way their loved ones do not have to see them in that position that they are in that state, to where they are literally ridden in a bed, where they cannot feed themselves, where they cannot go to the bathroom by themselves, where they cannot do anything by themselves. They are literally confined to a bed. Do I think they should be allowed to pick what they want? I undoubtedly do. If that is going to happen to that person, and it is guaranteed, I believe that if that person wants to die, they should be given the option. Yes, that may seem cold-hearted, but it's really not if you think about it. Those people are going to be in agony every day, and it will just get worse and worse and worse and worse until the point they can't stand. They can't bear to get up. They can't bear to move. They can't stomach anything they eat. It will literally be torture every single day. And I know this from personal experience. I've seen a couple of my family members get to that state where they couldn't do anything themselves. They couldn't even talk. and they knew that was going to happen. And to see them in that state, it broke my heart. So do I believe they should be given an option? Yes. I don't think anyone should have to live through that. It's a horrible thing. It is absolutely horrible. Anyway, that was today's topic. I was originally going to divide that into multiple videos, but I kind of started talking. Now, if you have a topic that was not in the last video, that you did not put in the comments of the last video I did asking, put them down here. If you have an argument, if you have anything to say about the things that I talked about here, which I know you guys will, trust me, put it down below. I want to see. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And I will, of course, see all of you guys in the next video. See ya.